The Secret Agent is a 2025 Brazilian thriller directed by Kleber Mendonça Filho and stars Wagner Moura. In 1977, a technology expert flees from a mysterious past and returns to his hometown of Reykjavik in search of peace. He soon realizes that the city is far from being the refugee he seeks. I watched this film at the closest theater I could possibly find. It wasn't playing anywhere in my hometown. It was just about to leave theaters, so I had to drive a long while to try and catch this thing, and I can now confidently say at this point in time, I have watched every Best Picture nominee before the Oscars come out. This is the first for me. I have never completed all 10 films before the Oscars come out, and I really wanted to this year, and honestly, I gotta say, this is probably one of the best lineups of films for a Best Picture nomination that I have seen this year. And I am so ready for the Oscars to see which one of these films are going to come out on top. There are a few that are probably going to be more obvious than others, but this is like neck and neck between this and Sentimental Value for Best International Film. And I gotta say, I think I like Sentimental Value a lot better. I think I connected with that film a lot more. With this film, I really enjoyed as a thriller. I thought it was good. It has a lot of intense scenes and great dramatic moments with Wagner Moura, who is absolutely phenomenal in the film and is definitely Best Actor worthy for a nomination. He brings a sense of fulfillment to the role that I really think was captured very well when he is trying to settle into his hometown, but a sense of weariness, a sense of tension and unassurance as well. As the more he discovers about his hometown, the more he sees that it is crumbling all around, and him trying to figure out a way to get out of here well and fight against the corrupt government officials that are hunting him down, I think was really well done in the film. I think the way the film was able to tackle in the wider government that is controlling his hometown was really intense. Seeing all these police officials, these people in power, abuse their power in order to just do what they want, or if they have a grudge on Wagner Moura's character, try to find ways to go after him. It's just really tense, especially by the end of the film, and whenever something really bad happens, the movie just doesn't let you up. The movie is also shot absolutely beautiful. I really love the way this entire film was shot, like a really dirty camera lens is put into every scene. You feel the dirt and dust and wind of everywhere you go. You feel like you are with this group of people, this family, essentially trying to live the best lives that they could. And I think overall the film was able to give you a sense of realism with everything that's happening around you. Conversations are very long and deep, and they suck you into the moment with great performances. Now, despite, as I said, the conversations and dialogue being long and deep, and in some instances really intriguing, the pacing can falter a little bit. I'm gonna be honest with you, this is probably one of my least favorite Best Picture nominees this year. Not that it's a bad film by any means. I don't think it's awful or just okay. I think it's a really good movie, but the film to me struggles a lot in the pacing, especially in the later half. It feels like I was still in the second act at some point, but then the climax happens and it already feels like, oh, this is the third act immediately, and the film felt like it just abruptly ends. It felt like there was no closure for the characters and what has happened after a very, much paradigm shift of the film happens, and the characters have to flee from a certain other character and try to make it out of that situation alive. That was all intense, beautifully filmed. The way the camera was able to follow all these characters all throughout, and how everything crumbled around what all the characters spent so much time trying to build towards. It was very sad, dramatic, and intense, but it still felt like the build up to that was a bit out of nowhere. Not that there wasn't any build up, but it felt like it wasn't given to me the time it properly needed to really settle in and digest. It felt like the pacing was so slow in the middle, and I thought it was deliberate. I was very sucked into these moments, these pieces of dialogue, the history of these characters and what they've been through. But once the climax happens, it just felt so sudden. And in some ways, I understand that, because what happened in the end of the film is supposed to be sudden, and you do feel like you are in the moment trying to figure out how to get out of the situation with the main character. So in some ways, I get the idea of why the pacing was probably like that, and why the film was edited the way it was like that by the end. It just still felt like, in a structural level, that there wasn't much of a payoff to any of this stuff, and feel like I was missing some moments in the film. It kind of reminded me of my problems with the Lost World Jurassic Park, to where that film felt like it had an abrupt ending and build up to that eventual climax. This is not as bad as a Lost World if I understand all the pieces and there are no continuity errors to get here, but still I felt like just the build up to the climax could have been worked out a little bit more. But other than that, I thought the rest of the film was beautifully shot, beautifully directed. A lot of the character backgrounds that we learn and what they've been through was very investing to watch. I love Wagner Moura in the role here, and all the other characters as well. He formed deep relationships in the past or in the present with all the antagonists that are trying to go after him, and how they conspire to try and capture him. All that is really good and really intense. You feel the threat looming all around, how corrupt this government and the people in charge and in power are, and you understand why the characters want to try and flee and just live a good life for themselves with their family and their friends. So overall, I had a really great time with The Secret Agent. I just feel like it could have been a bit better in terms of the pacing by the end, and paying off what it was setting up a little bit better. I'm gonna give The Secret Agent an A-. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please leave a like, subscribe, comment, and I'll see you guys next time.